Hey there guys, and welcome to a different type of video today. Now, I've done rant videos in the past. That's not really what this is. My rant videos were like a fair while back when I used to do them on occasion when I kind of felt the need to express my opinion. Was very just like boom, put it out there, and I did no research, I did no looking into it, and honestly, that's a little bit what this video is like. I'm just mostly going off the top of my head with a few examples, a few just like little things I kind of want to say, and the reason that this is happening now and it hasn't happened before is because it's actually happened a whole load of times before. I have made countless videos expressing my opinion, putting my thoughts out there, kind of going through all of these facts and whatever, all of this stuff I have talked about many, many times. And the thing is that I've always deleted them because I couldn't be asked with the hassle. My anxiety would kick in and I'd be like, oh, I just can't be asked with, possible comments, dealing with responding to people and all that kind of shit. And it's really interesting actually what it eventually ended up having this, because like I'm doing this video now with the full knowledge that I am going to release it. That is no longer in question for me. I am going to release this video. And the reason I'm going to release it is because I'm fed up of being bombarded with opinions contrary to mine and looking at them and going, if I say anything about that, people are going to have a fucking go at me. Like regardless of how I present my argument, regardless of how open and honest and reasonable I am, people are gonna have a go at me and call me racist or call me sexist or call me, whatever. I'm white, I'm male, I'm from a middle upper class family. So because of these things, I don't have the right to talk about pretty much fucking anything. According to many outspoken people on the internet. However, I do get subjected on a daily basis to opinions completely contrary to my own. Now, one of the things I am very, very definite about is I believe everyone should have free speech. I believe everyone should be able to express their opinions regardless of what those opinions are, because I think, if those opinions are full of hate, if those opinions are full of negativity and just, terrible shit, you will read them and you'll go, that's fucking bullshit, that's stupid. Well, I'm just not gonna worry about that. I'm not gonna bother with that. And me myself, if there are people out there, and fuck, I know there's gonna be, if there are people out there who listen to this, who get offended, who get pissed off with me, like, fair play. You don't have to listen to this, guys. I'm sure you'll probably leave a comment down going fuck you, or calling me out on whatever you could manage to call me out on. Fair play, that's your opinion. You're welcome to it as well. So, what finally brought me into the into the realm of, fuck it, I really don't give a shit anymore. I want to talk about this just purely for my own expression of my own opinion, just purely to get it out there, is I have a select number of people as friends on my Facebook. I go on my Facebook because I don't have a mobile phone. It's one of those things that randomly happened. Like, I never used my phone, so no one texted me, no one ever called me. People would contact me on Facebook because I'm on my computer all the time. People would contact me on Steam and things like that. Even emails and all that kind of thing. Because I forgot about my phone, people didn't call me, so I just left it lying around. It ran out of battery. And yeah, people just stopped calling, stopped texting, and started contacting me in other ways. So, I don't have a phone, so I use my Facebook to contact people, which means I am occasionally, and by occasionally I mean probably once a day at least, subjected to, oh, this is what's in my feed today. And a post turned up from, I think it was originally, well, I don't know where it was originally from, but the person on my Facebook kind of feed who shared it from, I think it's called like no, not feminism, sorry. It's called like Beauty is Inside. Let me just double check this very quickly for you. The thing will pause for a moment. It is right here. Yeah, it's called Beauty is Inside. It's a Facebook page. And the post, let's bring this mountain back up. Here we go. I'll put I've got a few posts I'm going to go through, just put my opinion out there, have a little talk about it, and, you guys feel free to rip me apart, disagree, whatever. As I said, I don't want to censor you. So what the post said, and the picture of it will flash up for you so you can read it at your own leisure as well, is nobody said hashtag All Lives Matter until we said hashtag Black Lives Matter. Nobody said hashtag Heterosexual Pride Day until we had hashtag Gay Pride. Nobody wants hashtag White History Month until it's hashtag Black History Month. Nobody mentions hashtag men's rights until we talk about hashtag feminism. This shows me that you don't actually care about these things. You just want all the minorities, in inverted commas, to shut up so the status quo never changes. Now, first off, I want to point out that Beauty is Inside is, as far as I can tell, a feminist Facebook page that reblogs, reposts other people's photos and memes and shit like that. As far as I can see, they don't actually post up any of their own thoughts, really. I think I saw maybe one, which was, some dickhead, kind of sexist wanker messaging them and just completely failing to come across as intelligent or, reasonable, or even having an argument. It was a knee-jerk reaction probably of some dickhead who was like, yeah, these guys are dicks, fuck them, and just typed out some stupid bullshit that came into his head. So yeah, that's basically what the page is, and the actual Beauty is Inside seems to sell accessories and jewelry with a feminist message. So basically what the Facebook page is about, as far as I can tell, looking at it and just kind of deducting what the point of it is, if it doesn't put across any original thought, is to use... Okay, that's a bit loud. Is to use feminism and, kind of like use this ease of reblogging other people's, reposting and, kind of regurgitating other people's photos and memes and things like that, all feminist, well, mostly feminist, to sell their jewelry, basically. So, it's going like, well, we'll make some jewelry, let's give it a feminist message, and, let's advertise our business by posting up feminist propaganda, basically. And so, this person on my Facebook, I don't really blame him for setting me off on the course of wanting to actually talk about this and stopping giving a fuck about negative feedback, not really wanting to deal with any kind of repercussions from putting my opinion up out there. Now, okay, what I want to talk about basically today is the idea that I am not a feminist. And, there's so much intricacy to feminism. there's so much intricacy to kind of social justice. So, let's focus on the end of this message, and I don't have a particular I don't have a particular thing to talk about heterosexual Pride Day and Gay Pride. As far as I know, and honestly, I'm going to be completely honest here, I don't have much knowledge of heterosexual Pride Day. Didn't even know it was a thing. But I did a very quick look into it, and one of the things I saw was that it was a celebration of marriage, of people who stay together, and that kind of thing. Like, maybe that's true, I don't know. And the other explanation was that it was kind of poking fun a little bit at gay pride, because being gay nowadays a lot is a very normal thing, and is basically saying, well, being gay is so normal for most people, whether you're gay or not, that having a gay pride day is the same as having a heterosexual pride day. We may as well have both, or we may as well have neither. I'm not going to talk too much about that. And same with the White History Month, Black History Month. I really, have never heard of either of these two as a hashtag. White History Month, I've never heard of people wanting a White History Month. And heterosexual Pride Day, I've never heard of people wanting a heterosexual Pride Day. So I can't really talk on that. And for myself personally, I don't feel like I want either of those things. But so before we go on to the men's rights and the All Lives Matter, which I will talk about a little bit in detail, this shows me that you don't actually care about these things. You just want all the minorities to shut up so the status quo never changes. Now, you see, the thing is I have had conversations, individual conversations with people who have a very third wave feminist opinion. They have a very social justice warrior, kind of SJW, very left opinion. And it has, I'd say, probably never failed to be pointed out to me that I can't talk about these things. I can't talk about race. I can't talk about sexism. I can't talk about, any of these issues that face all of us as society as a whole, because I'm white, and because I'm male, and because I'm privileged. Which I find is absolute and utter horseshit and bullshit. I may not be able to understand, I may not be able to empathize directly with people or who are black, with people who are gay, with people who are women. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to talk about it. That doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have an opinion about it. That doesn't mean I'm not allowed to try and form my own cohesive thoughts about it. And the pure fact that the same people who are saying, oh, you're trying to silence us, have effectively been silencing me, I find very, very annoying. Now, they're welcome to their opinion, and one of the things that I'll probably repeat more than once to keep reminding you is that I'm not against free speech. Those people are perfectly welcome to tell me that I'm not allowed my opinion. The only reason I haven't put my opinion out, I still retained my opinion. I still thought about these things the way I think about these things. I just never talked about it. I never put my opinion out there because I couldn't be asked to deal with people who have no interest in open debate, who have no interest in actually talking about facts and logic and any of these things. If I have an opinion that doesn't match up with theirs, I'm racist, I'm sexist, I'm whatever. And there are plenty of feminists who are men, and their opinion is acceptable. However, as soon as someone disagrees with any aspect of the feminist movement as it currently stands, they're called sexist if they are male, and sometimes if they're female, purely because they disagree. Now, if I say to myself, if I put forth the opinion that something about not liking feminism, especially the third wave feminism, which is so prevalent in social media and pretty much all over the internet and TV and everything at the moment, and for the past couple of years. If I say, if I say, kind of, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the message they're putting out. I feel like they're censoring people and stuff like that. I'm sexist. If they disagree with something I say, they're just feminists. They're just social activists fighting against the oppressor. So you can see why, like, it's a really tough subject to talk about, because immediately, as soon as you put forth an opinion, you are automatically identified as the enemy. And the thing is like, I never considered myself to be the enemy of anyone. I consider myself to be very, very critical of all sides. I'm not saying I'm 100% neutral. I'm not saying I'm 100% for men. I'm 100% for women. I'm 100% for Asian people, for black people, for Jewish people, for Christian people, for Muslim people, for any of this. I criticize regularly when I talk with my friends pretty much every aspect of life, of society. There will always be different parts of different movements, of different religions, and of different everything in society that I will criticize. However, when you criticize certain factions, they will immediately paint you as the enemy. And feminism is one of those ones. I have been painted as the enemy before. I made a few comments in one of my videos, and we talked about it for maybe like 5 minutes, as I remember. Just a little bit of light-hearted joking about feminism, and I think within very quickly after I put the video up, I was called an MRA participating in a sexist circle jerk. And I actually had to go and ask Doc Gast, one of my friends, what an MRA was, because I had no idea. So, that's how much I know about men's rights. I didn't know that MRA stood for Men's Rights Activist. So let's talk about these hashtags, okay? So we'll start with feminism. Nobody mentions men's rights until we talk about feminism. Now, I've heard of the whole hashtag men's rights now, and obviously I looked into it after someone called me an MRA. And I can honestly say that I had no knowledge of it, especially coming up through my youth. So, possibly, I haven't done my research into it too far, but I'm assuming it's not something that's been around since feminism has first started. Which leads me to believe that men's rights has risen to popularity, at least. If it hasn't risen up in the last decade or so, I would say it's risen to the popularity in the last decade because feminism has shifted from equal rights to putting down men. And obviously these are going to be kind of fairly blanket statements, but the thing is like, yes, it is very true that not all feminists, and it's interesting that I'm using the not all in this situation right now, not all feminists are sexist. Not all feminists hate men. The problem is not feminists. It is the feminist movement and the people leading it, the front runners. The people who, and I'm going to talk about this later more in depth, but it's the people who have what feminism has been trying for, what feminism had been wanting, which is equal opportunity, equal rights. Just to put a very basic stance on it here, That's what they wanted: equal rights, equal opportunities. And as far as I am as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see, and I'm sure there'll be people who disagree with me, we all have that. All aspects of people, of cultures, of races in Western civilization, in the UK, in the US, we have equal rights and we have equal opportunities. Whether people take those equal rights, whether people take those equal opportunities, is something I'm not going to go into. But the legal structure is there. And now what people are going after, and this is the kind of stuff that shows up in my this is kind of stuff that shows up in my feed that makes me think, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm seeing more of this shit again. What's happening? Is the sexism inherent in video games. I see a celebrity going apeshit because on a movie poster a woman is being strangled. Let's say put in a chokehold, because I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen the film, and I've seen the poster, but it's unclear there as to whether she's actively being strangled or whether she's just in a chokehold. Just kind of like held there by a man. And, you can look at it and you can go, oh, wow, yeah, no, like, that's pretty violent. But it's an action film. And the point is that it's, people are saying, oh, it's man, it's just a clear kind of chauvinistic expression of man's dominance over women, and all that kind of shit. And technically speaking, it is a man having at least a chokehold on a woman. The problem becomes is that he is a superhuman. He's a mutant who is pretty much intent on destroying the world and reshaping it in his image, which is mutants, not men and not women or whatever. So the message there is initially, at first look, it's woman, blue man. There's some violence going on there, but it's a violent film. It's an action film. Secondly, it is a poster about a very, very powerful mutant with very strong mutant powers, who is in effect going to kill a whole load of people and reshape the world, make mutants like him and things like that. And that's a very effective poster to put that across, to be like, look how powerful he is. He's taking out this, let's face it, pretty respected, as far as I'm aware. Again, I'm not that up on the X-Men especially, but comics in general, and superheroes and that. As far as I know, Mystique is a fairly considered to be a pretty strong mutant and very very adept at fighting, very strong. So to have the ability to kind of just have her there in a chokehold, almost not caring, is impressive to people who know about the X-Men films and about the X-Men comics and stuff. You're like, holy crap, yeah, he's, I feel like that's the message that was going across. Not, it's okay to choke women. And the fact that people jumped on this, the only reason people jumped on this is because there was hype around the X-Men films. And one of the things I may talk about, I'm not sure whether we'll have time, because we're already 25 minutes in and this is going to end up being a long bloody video apparently, is that is that basically movements like feminism now will jump on anything popular. Anything that can get them buzz, that can get them followers, that can get them views, subscribers, all this kind of thing. They will jump on it regardless of how flimsy the argument is, because it will get them visibility on social media. Which is not good. I don't mind if someone's like, I don't agree with this, and they continue on to protest against, all these things. But these kind of issues are flash in the pan. I think her name was Rose McGowan. She's, as far as I know, she's an actress who fell out of public interest a long time ago. For the most part, like, the kind of the public eye, I guess. And, it's a flash in the pan, like, hey, I'm still here, let's circulate my name around Twitter for a bit, kind of thing. And the other thing I want to talk about is nobody said all lives matter until we said Black Lives Matter. And this is something I have to be much more careful about because, men's rights I can talk about because I'm a man. I hope I haven't had that right taken away from me as well, It's nice to be able to speak freely and put my opinion out there, but, who knows if I'm actually allowed. Anyway, I have no real experience with racism. A few very minor, very what's the word, kind of singular experiences. Nothing even slightly, upsetting. Just very, very slight shit that's nothing, and I never really thought anything about it. So talking about hashtag All Lives Matter and hashtag Black Lives Matter is difficult because I immediately consider myself to be unworthy of talking about this, unworthy of forming any opinions, unworthy of being able to put my opinions out there. I feel like I don't have the right, which is stupid because, I think feminism, gay pride, and Black Lives Matter are very much, advocates of free speech. As far as I'm aware, free speech is important. So I'm going to have a little bit of a crack at it, but we're not going to go as in depth into it as we are into the men's right feminism kind of thing I just did. And we're going to be going further into feminism anyway, because it's something that pops up a lot. And kind of, I see people who are feminists kind of attaching themselves to other causes as well. It's possibly, fuck it. It's possibly rats leaving a sinking ship. I guess it's not even... Feminism's not a sinking ship. It's a ship that has found land. It doesn't need to keep sailing. It's pretty much served its purpose at this point, and we'll go into that later. Anyway, so Black Lives Matter. It aggravates me because nobody said all lives matter until we said Black Lives Matter. And this is a problem with all of these to a certain extent, is what's wrong with all lives matter? You're basically what you're saying is wrong is that I say all lives matter because I want to shut up the minorities. In this case, Black Lives Matter. Which isn't true. If I say all lives matter, it's because all lives fucking matter. Someone said to me, I was talking to someone about this, and he's like, what he was kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit, and he said, what happens after all lives matter? Fucking hashtag Nazi lives matter. And I was like, yes, I am perfectly comfortable with Nazi lives matter because Nazi lives do matter. All life matters, and I'm not trying to detract from Black Lives Matter here, but it seems like Black Lives Matter is trying to detract from all lives matter. There's a certain amount of black activists nowadays that are becoming more and more prevalent in universities, especially along with feminism and all the other SJW social rights activists stuff. And I've seen multiple videos start popping up. One in particular where it's a meeting of students, as far as I can tell. I saw a clip of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but in effect, and I'm not even I'm not even gonna alter it or anything for to be like, oh my god, how can you believe this? Yeah, can you believe this? It was pretty much a black student saying you should kill yourself because you're privileged. And the white student, kind of up there, he's very respectful. He doesn't shout over. He stays very logical. He stays very calm, and he says, "So my life does not matter." And the black student says, "Yeah, your life does not matter." And he's not just speaking from a from a position of I don't think your life matters. He's saying, in his opinion, society should not care about his life because he's white. No one should give a shit about his life. And that's a very disturbing thing to have said, especially, if like me, you're like, yeah, fuck, all lives matter. Then to have someone turn around and go, you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't give a shit if you died. And in fact, me and my friends would probably celebrate. We'd be like, yeah, fuck it, one less cracker down, So this is the crux of the problem I have with the movements like feminism and Black Lives Matter, is that I am and have always been very much about freedom of speech, very much about the ability to express yourself, to put out your opinion, and like once your opinion's out there, it should be criticized. You can't say all black people should die and consider that to be a solid, just like in stone right there. No one can disagree with this because this is fact. And that's the problem, is a lot of opinion is getting put out there as fact from both sides. So I'm saying, like, if a Black Lives Matter activist wants to say, your life doesn't matter, I don't agree with him. I think my life does matter, and I don't think that's a radical belief to have particularly. But I would fight for his right to say that, the same way I would fight for a Nazi to be able to say Black lives don't matter, because there's the same, like it's like inherently, for some reason, saying white lives don't matter is so much less triggering than saying black lives don't matter. So you got to be careful what you say now, but only careful in some aspects, because people will get offended by certain things but not by other things, because there's some things that people care about, and when they care about them and you express a different opinion, they'll go off the fucking rails. However, if you say something and they agree with you, they'll cheer. And I don't like that kind of hypocrisy, and when you present, and again, this is a blanket statement, let's not forget this. This is talking about the vocal majority, at least, if not the majority, just the vocal majority. If you say something that is your opinion, that you back up with facts, that you use logic and reasoning to present, very, very, very often with feminism and other movements like it, you'll be called a racist, you'll be called a sexist, you'll be called I'm only just starting to get used to the terms. Is it cis male, sexist, cis misogynist male, privileged stuff, like all those kind of words get thrown at you, and you'll just take a tirade of abuse, and you can see it. Like, this is one of the things I want to put in this video. Go do your research. Like, I didn't immediately go like, oh my god, there's so much racism and there's so much sexism in on the internet. It's obvious, because the media on TV is telling me about it, because I see it pop up in my Twitter. I see this stuff and I go, let's have a look. And you know what's interestingly true? Like, as much as I've been saying, as much as I've been having a go against feminism and against Black Lives Matter to some respect, it is true. There is a lot of sexism and there is a lot of racism on Twitter, on Facebook, in the media, on YouTube. And the thing about racism, the thing about sexism, is it comes from both sides. Women are just as capable of being sexist against men as men are as being sexist against women. So while I see a whole load of horrible tweets to a feminist, while I see some woman just putting a picture of her in a slightly revealing outfit, and men either being very aggressive sexually to her or just plain out calling her a whore, and let's face it, not all of them are men. We know that. At the same time, I see feminists, self-proclaimed or just women, doing the exact same thing to men. You can't hit a woman. Men and women are equal, but you can't hit a woman because men and women aren't equal. And it's this kind of well, how do you want it? You can't walk up to me, punch me in the face, pull a knife on me, and expect me to stand there and let you hit me and stab me and say you can't hit a woman. You can't do that anyway. Even if you were advocating against equal rights for men and women, you can't expect me to throw away my life just purely because you have anger, you want to, hit out at men or anything like that. And I'll put it back the exact same way. While I advocate equality between men and women, I am a little bit prejudiced in the sense that I do believe, in general, biologically, men have the advantage in strength over women. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure Ronda Rousey could kick the shit out of me, and I wouldn't have a fucking chance. But I'm talking in general here, which means that if you are not being assaulted, if you are not being attacked or abused or anything like that, if you're not defending yourself, I really don't think there's any particular reason for either side to start physical violence. So, that's the first post that I wanted to talk about, and the thing is going to freeze for a second while I bring the next one up. Okay, so the next one is just a very quick one. I'm not sure I'm even gonna go into it, possibly even at all. I kind of wanted it. It was one of those ones that I've seen about so many times. I just wanted to touch on it. So here it is. You can see it. Man victimized by feminism. Today on the internet, a man who will be left anonymous went to a feminist page solely to silence discussion of women's 20% rape stat by callously using the 3% of men that have been raped. Now, I don't know much about the stats of rape, but could I just put forward right now that this makes no mention of country, or this is just saying flat 20% rape stat and 3% are men that have been raped, and they're basically saying that the use of 3% is trying, he's using that callously to shut down the idea that women are raped, which I don't think anyone would ever actually deny. Talking just for myself, I have met multiple women who have been abused and raped, and their stories are never nice to hear. One of my best friends, who I may go into on who I may talk about in another video, had a very abusive relationship, and it affected me also very heavily, and it was a really tough time, and it wasn't that long ago. So I'm going to be perfectly happy, well, not perfectly happy, but I'm perfectly willing to talk about that probably in another video. However, well, let's finish this off. Experts say that the man was found later having been called such insults as dude bro, MRA, etc. He is believed to be okay, but feels violated, claiming his experience was bad enough that he can sympathise with men who have actually been raped, though inside sources confirms he knows none and doesn't care about them beyond using them as a prop against feminists. His lawyer has made a legal statement promising legal recourse against feminists for illegal censorship of the man's attempt at censorship. And I find this, from the instances I've seen, I find this so unbelievably hypocritical. And, I see instances of men claiming, feminism censors, claims of sexism by women against men. They laugh it off. They minimize it. Basically everything that was said in this, I've seen men claim the same thing. And I think the real point here is they both fucking do it. And the problem is the extremists. And, I'm not condoning the sexism on either side. I'm saying sexism exists on both sides. The problem is that I really don't know any men who would deny sexism against women. And this is just in my personal life, obviously you see dickheads on Twitter going like oh, sexism against women isn't real. But no, in real life, for me, in my personal life, I know of no people who would say sexism does not exist towards women. However, these same people will use phrases like reverse sexism, which is not a thing. Sexism is sexism. If you are sexist to a man, you are sexist to a man. If you beat the crap out of a guy and tell him he's not allowed to hit you because you're a woman, that's sexist, as far as I'm concerned. Who knows what the exact classification of it is? Probably called social justice. So yeah, basically, this is a ridiculous, just, one thing I've noticed often is that the sexism claim will often be presented by feminists as, mansplaining and talking down to women, and basically, oh, are you alright, dearie? Do you want me to explain that for you, or do you want me to explain to people what your actual point is, because you're a woman and you get all passionate and and emotional and shit. But I've seen so many examples of women basically doing the exact same thing to men, and sometimes, I'm not going to say worse, but sometimes very differently, in the sense that they will belittle them and they will basically castrate them. Legitimately, I know that's kind of like probably going to be considered like, oh, that's sexist to say that women castrate men. I'm not saying women castrate men. I'm saying feminists castrate men, and they will literally just dominate a man and just talk down to him and make him seem like he is nothing, and his kind of the encouragement that men can sometimes face, that they are sexist, that they are racist, that they are, not because that's what their opinion is, not because that's how they feel, but that's because what everyone tells them they are. And it can be hard to argue with a lot of people. Anyway, I think that's enough of that one, because that one actually really pisses me off. Okay, and here's the last one, and this is the one where I'm going to talk about for a fair little bit. We're coming up. We've got about 15 minutes. 15 minutes till we get to the hour. So let's see what we can do. I think an hour is a pretty bloody long time, but let's go with it. I don't think I'm going to be making a whole load of videos like this, but this one maybe will do for a while. So the last one, privilege. Privilege is like one parent giving one child a full cookie and another one half of a cookie. When the second child is given another half to catch up, the first child complains that it's unfair and that the second child is getting extra cookies. Don't be a dick if you already have a cookie. Now, the ridiculousness of this, I feel, is fairly obvious. Because, you know, to me, and, you know, I'm sure people will either say I'm wrong or, you know, just completely try and shoot down my argument or my opinion here. But to me, privilege is a really tricky term. And basically saying privilege is like a cookie, you know, like, I'd say the majority of feminists are middle-aged, middle and middle upper class women. And they've got quite a lot of privilege. And, you know, you see a lot of feminists now complaining about some really petty shit. In my again, in my opinion, this stuff is really petty. You know, when someone does a $6,000 Kickstarter to talk about feminism in gaming, you know, sexism in gaming, like, fair enough. Myself personally, freedom of speech, say what you like. But when that person says with $6,000 she can do, and yes, I'm talking about Anita Sarkeesian. When she says with $6,000, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the gist of what I got from a little research. She said with $6,000, she can do 12 videos. She got, I actually don't know the exact amount, but she got a way fuck ton more than that, and she made 3 videos. Maybe a few more, I don't know. She didn't reach the goal. And let me just tell you, like, yeah, obviously there's more work that goes into it. Although there are a lot of discrepancies about how much work she actually did, and there's a lot of claims I've seen. I can't say for sure that they're true, but there are a lot of claims that I've seen that she actually lifted up footage of games from other YouTubers and used them instead of actually playing the games herself and recording the footage. But what I will say is, you know, in a couple of years, I've done a couple thousand videos, and, you know, the amount of work I do on each video obviously is different, but it should not take you a couple of years, a few years to fail to deliver 12 videos when you asked for $6,000 and got tens, maybe hundreds of a couple of 100,000, maybe, is it 100? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, you know, when one of your leading feminists, one of your organizational heads, you know, one of the voices of feminism, a respected and supported voice of your feminist movement, is complaining about butts in a video game, you are not arguing about who has an extra cookie, who has an extra half of a cookie, about whether you even have a slightly smaller cookie than the other person has. You are, at that point, you are arguing about how many chocolate chips you have on your cookie. And in fact, further than that, you are going around and asking other people for bits of their cookies with the promise that you'll get them more cookies. And then you fail to deliver, you know, those cookies. You kind of maybe look like you're going to give a bit back, and then you're like, oh well, yeah, you know, like, stuff happened, I ate them, whoops, shit. And, like, this is the thing, is, you know, and I'm sure, again, people are going to disagree with me. People are going to call me sexist. People are going to call me racist. That's their opinion. Fair play. Say what you like. It's your opinion. You're allowed it. And as I said before, I want everyone to be able to express their opinion, because the ridiculous opinions, the outrageous opinions, the opinions that just aren't acceptable, that shouldn't be acceptable, will very, very quickly, or within time, just be ignored to the point where they're just echoes in a well. So what I'm saying here is, I do not hate women. I do not hate anyone of a different race or a different religion. I disagree with them. I challenge some of their points. I challenge some of their opinions. I disagree with them at times. I disagree with racists. I disagree with sexists, on both sides. I call people out when I feel like they're just chatting bullshit. But the pure fact of the matter is that on the other side, where there are people who, hate black people, the racists who hate black people, the racists who, want to get rid of all illegal immigrants by killing them, all immigrants by killing them, they want them all to go back to their own country. They're very loud and shouty and fucking idiots, the same way as women saying all men should die are fucking idiots as well. Those people on that side of the argument, when I say, when they're like, oh, like some random drunk dickhead is like, oh, don't you hate black people? I'm like, no, not really. I've got friends who are black. I've got friends who are gay. I've got friends who are women, weirdly enough. And they say, oh, fuck you then. I'll be like, yeah, fuck you. Whereas when I have someone in my social circle, a friend of a friend or whoever, coming up to me and saying, aren't men so sexist and blah blah, whatever ridiculous shit they may be spouting at that moment in time, and I say, yeah, no, I don't agree with that either. I'm not on any side here. They go, well, you're sexist and you're white and you're privileged, so you don't get to have an opinion anyway. So you know what the difference is there? The difference is, you're both arseholes for having extreme opinions. Your opinions are extreme. Kill all men, kill all women, kill all black people, kill all white people. It doesn't matter. Those are extreme opinions. The difference is because I don't agree with some of your points, or even all of your points maybe, you label me as the enemy. And other extreme people like that don't. So I don't need to defend my opinion about them, because they'll be like, all blacks must die, and I'll be like, shut the fuck up, that's a ridiculous thing to say, that's racist and you're ignorant. And they'll go, fuck you, and I'll say, fuck you. And then we'll both go on about our days and not like each other. Whereas if I disagree with someone who says all men are rapists, all men accused of rape are automatically rapists and they should go to jail, and I say, I disagree with that, because that is not equality. That is, in fact, a very disturbing lean towards just fucking fascism, basically. No due trial, no innocent until proven guilty. Just, if you are accused of rape, you are a rapist and you should go to jail. If I disagree with that, I'm the enemy. And I will be attacked not because of my opinion, because of me disagreeing with their opinion. And that's the point. That's the real point that gets me worked up. It isn't people having an opinion, it's people denying my right to an opinion. Because of who I am, because of my sex, because of my race, because of my situation. Anyone is allowed an opinion. Anyone is allowed to use their brain to research, to reason, to use logic, to come up with their own opinions and arguments, and they may be wrong, they may be right, but those things are opinions. Whether I am wrong or whether I'm right, that's your opinion. And as much as you can disagree with me, as much as you can say to me, you're a fucking idiot, I hate you, like, go for it, fucking hate me for my opinions. That is completely up to you. But you're not allowed to tell me that I'm not allowed my opinion because of my gender, because of my race, because of whatever. Because that is divisive. That is hypocritical. That's what you're supposed to be fighting against. And how is it that I see all these people, who are supposed to be racist, who are supposed to be sexist, according to the what the media puts out there, and yet they're the people who are also saying, like, I'm for free speech. I want to hear these opinions. I want people to be able to put out their opinion, no matter how offensive or whatever it is, because the right to free speech is important. And then the people who apparently have been campaigning for things like free speech will not let people voice their opinions. They will actively campaign against people who voice their opinions. And again, this is about leaders egging, either egging on or participating in these activities. So, I'm into this winter night. Yeah, me too, mate. It's pretty relaxing. So, wow, we managed to hit an hour. Okay. So yeah, I guess the basic takeaway from this, as much as I ranted and I raved, most of it, and if you got to the end here, hey, how you doing? You clearly don't massively disagree with or hate me, because if you do, you would have paused this video about 2 minutes in, clicked the dislike, and then left a hateful or disparaging comment about me being racist or sexist or whatever. Basically the reason I made this... Yeah, basically the reason I made this video is because I wasn't willing to keep censoring myself. As I said, I've made videos like this before. And I've not put them up because I couldn't be asked to deal with the hassle. I couldn't be fucked to face the annoyance that was possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen to me, because if just my regular viewers watch this, I'm sure some of you will be triggered. I'm sure some of you will be offended. And I'm sure some of you will go, oh, I don't agree with you, unsubscribed. Fair play. I'll tell you this, though. This isn't going to be like a regular thing where I just, go off on a fucking rant. This is like more of a one-off thing where I'm just like, I want to get my opinion out there. And this is where I can do it. We'll go back to gaming. There's going to be gaming videos out today as well. Don't you fucking worry. So, there you go. So anyway, at the end of the day, my point is, I will advocate anyone's right to free speech, anyone's right to equal opportunities, anyone's equal rights. I will always advocate for that, because I feel it's very important. But then if someone turns around to me and say that my right to free speech is revoked because I'm a privileged white male, and therefore I'm not allowed an opinion, I'm not allowed to talk about things, you don't have to discard all of your privilege to be able to talk about something. You don't have to discard your maleness to talk about something. You don't have to discard your race to talk about something, because you are not personally oppressed, because you are not personally affected. So anyone who tells me that my right to free speech, that my right to form opinion and to express my opinion and to put it out there, because I'm a privileged white man, can go fuck themselves. And feel free to tell me to go fuck myself. That's fine.